Welcome to The Project. Tonight, the mushroom murder trial reveals where the fatal ingredients might have come from, what happened to the leftovers, and just how sick doctors thought Erin really was.
With record numbers of Aussie blokes heading overseas for cosmetic surgery, the warning signs to look out for in picking dodgy operators.
Plus, it's the Ryan Reynolds side hustle that took a no-name club and made it a global footy fairy tale. We speak to the man who got the ball rolling.
And BMX legend and Nitro Circus star Ryan Williams double backflips his way onto the desk. Dude, I hope he signs my Razor scooter. That would slay.
Yeah. You got it. You're cool. Yeah.
We got the kids in the... Yeah, I'm killing it already.
We are live from Lands of the Cool, the Nation. A very big welcome tonight to Kate Langbrook.
Wow. So speaking of slaying...
Yes. Speaking of razors...
Oh, what?
Oh, nothing. Just describing your sharp wit.
Oh, okay.
She's here, people. It's definitely a Tuesday. All right, let's get into it for tonight. And it was another day of explosive testimony in the Leongatha mushroom murder trial. The jury hearing everything from what doctors made of Erin's health claims to what happened to the lunch leftovers.
First to give evidence today, Professor Rhonda Stewart, who spoke to Erin Patterson just hours after she'd left hospital against medical advice, later returning with her children, fearing for their safety.
She told me that she came because her children needed to be checked out. She said she'd been unwell the following day, the Sunday, with gastroenteritis-type symptoms.
Another doctor telling the court Erin did not appear to be unwell.
She had some chapped lips, but otherwise looked well.
An assessment later confirmed through tests.
Her liver function tests were within normal limit. She was able to be discharged from a toxicity point of view.
Professor Stewart later telling the court she questioned Erin on whether the mushrooms used in the beef Wellington lunch had been foraged.
I asked her if she'd been mushrooming, but she said no.
Erin later admitted that this was a lie, but maintains she didn't deliberately seek out poisonous mushrooms. Leftovers found on Erin's property were sent for testing, but didn't contain death cap mushrooms. Prosecution argues these leftovers weren't part of the meal served to guests. The court also heard from a mushroom expert that death cap mushrooms typically appear in Victoria in April and May.
They will not last longer than a couple of weeks when they're sitting in the field.
Also shown to the court, details on iNaturalist, an online database frequented by fungi enthusiasts, and a map with red dots indicating the known locations of death cap mushrooms.
You can get the GPS point for each location by clicking on the red point.
The prosecution claims data from one of Erin's phones shows she twice travelled to locations identified on the website as having death cap mushrooms. Dr May agreed there had been cases where people have mistaken death caps for edible mushrooms. Erin Patterson has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
10 News First, Samantha Butler is in Morwell and with us once more. Sam, are we any closer to finding out where she actually got the mushrooms from for her beef Wellington?
Well, Waleed, all of the witnesses, or many of the witnesses who've testified in this trial so far, have given a similar account of what Erin Patterson has told them as to where she sourced these mushrooms from that she used in the beef Wellington, and that is that she bought some from the supermarket and others from an Asian grocer, either in the suburbs of Oakley or Glen Waverley, both in Melbourne, but she couldn't remember where. Now, we heard from several doctors today during the trial, and they told the court that Erin Patterson denied foraging for mushrooms when they put the question to her, and she insisted that she only used those two types of mushrooms. Now, it's not disputed by Erin Patterson's defence that she did actually forage for mushrooms, but they say that she never sought out death caps. That is something that the prosecution is trying to prove. They claim that phone data actually puts Erin Patterson at two locations where death caps were known to be sighted in the lead up to the lunch, and they allege that she did deliberately poison her relatives.
Toxicologists from Monash Health took the stand today. What did they add?
Yeah, well, we heard from several doctors who treated Erin Patterson in the days after the lunch when she presented to hospital complaining of gastro symptoms. But we also heard from the Director of Public Health for Monash Health, who was called in to Monash Medical Centre to speak to Erin due to concerns that there could be some broader public health risk, given that they couldn't pinpoint exactly where these mushrooms had come from. Now, she had a conversation with Erin Patterson. She said that Erin told her that she had used up all of the mushrooms in this meal and that there wouldn't be any leftovers. She also told the court that Erin told her she'd served up the leftovers of the meal with the mushrooms scraped off to her children and that the rest of the meal went into the bin. Now, doctors as well gave evidence about their clinical assessment of Erin Patterson in those days after the lunch, and interestingly, they actually said that she appeared fine to them. Aside from some chapped lips, she appeared otherwise well. They said her vital signs were all normal, and the liver toxicity test also came back normal. And that was a key point, given that that was something that was really a key indicator of how unwell her lunch guests were and that they were suffering from death cap mushroom poisoning.
And Sam, a world authority on mushrooms, was in court today. So what did we learn from him?
So we heard evidence today from Dr. Tom May. Now, he is a mycologist, a mushroom expert, and he's been in that role for about 30 years at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Melbourne. Now, he was asked some questions about the website iNaturalist, and that is, he described the largest citizen science platform for uploading images of fungi. As of last year, he told the court there were some 440,000 odd images of fungi, and essentially people can hop on when they cite these mushrooms. They can post a picture and some coordinates of exactly where to find them. Now, he told the court that in 2023, in the Gippsland region, there were only 2 locations where death cap mushrooms had been sighted, the towns of Outram and Lock. And that is important because those are the 2 locations where the prosecution alleges Erin Patterson's phone data actually put her in the lead up to the lunch. He was also asked about a post that he himself made to the iNaturalist website under his account name Funky Tom, and in that post he actually pinpointed the location of death cap mushrooms in Outram. That post was made, the court heard, in May 2023, 2 months before the lunch. Now, his evidence hasn't finished. We are expecting him to return to the stand tomorrow. His cross-examination started this afternoon, and we did hear under cross-examination he conceded that even for experts it is incredibly difficult to identify different types of mushrooms. But as I say, we are expecting him to return to the stand in the morning as his cross-examination continues.
Sam Butler, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
More news now, and Susan Lee has made history. She's the first woman to lead the Liberals since the party was founded in 1944. Lee secured the role after beating Angus Taylor by 4 votes, and she says she's up to the task of rebuilding the party following its election defeat. Her plan is to take a fresh approach, promising to do things differently.
We have to have a Liberal Party that respects modern Australia, that reflects modern Australia, and that represents modern Australia. And we have to meet the people where they are.
Kate, polling showed that women just did not warm to Peter Dutton. So do you think...
I'm shook.
Susan Lee is the answer then?
Well, it's a very interesting thing, isn't it? When I think whenever a woman gets a post like this, it's always like, oh, here's the job nobody else wanted.
The glass cliff.
Yes, an expression I didn't know, which is like the glass ceiling, but the glass cliff, they're waiting for you to fall over the edge.
Yeah, you're brought in to clean up the mess.
That is real, but I don't think that's what's happened here. Because she was the only candidate from the Liberal wing of the party, which, let's face it, is not very big anymore, especially in Parliament, that ran. Who else was it going to be? Tim Wilson, who'd only just scraped in. So I think it will play as a gender thing because it kind of is, but I think it becomes a philosophical thing. Did they want to go more in the direction of the Nats and that sort of conservative approach or the Liberal approach? And they chose that.
You know what means it is a gender thing? She's into numerology.
Yes, that's right. Well, she actually changed her name, added the extra S to her name.
She added the S.
an extra S because the numerology theory that her extra S would mean her life would never be boring.
Oh my God!
Wow.
It's a glass cliff with 3 S's on glass. That makes sense. Thank you. Now,
It hasn't worked for you, Sam Taunton.
Sam, successful Taunton. Anyway, if you're wondering about Susan with the extra S, what she's like, don't worry. I went through the archives today.
Oh.
I did some research and I've compiled a highlight reel.
Oh.
Have a look.
Yay.
With some nervousness, I give the call to the Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
First, let me introduce my alter ego, Tina Lena Turner.
Wow.
I wasn't at the party, and so I don't know what happened. Sadly, my dancing on table days, if indeed there was any dancing on tables, are long gone. Sometimes you can be down match point and still recover. Sometimes you can make a silly drop shot in the middle of a game and you can win that game and then go on to win the match. Don't just walk past a pharmacy, walk in. For every single pharmacy that you walk past, walk in. I'm not part of any menu. I'm in Lismore. I'm talking to real people
No,
in the
you're
real
in Sydney.
world
You're in
who are
Sydney.
really
That's
hurting.
Sydney CBD behind you.
Get in there, bro.
It's a really important day, the last day of sitting. Well, maybe not quite. I think we're coming back tomorrow and maybe Saturday. We did learn a lot. And travelling there to talk to the fishers myself, my standard of living, and make my life better, just like you promised, Labor government.
Okay, but on those numbers.
Oh.
I think there was a sprinkler.
I've seen worse netball shots, by the way.
Well,
That's
if
not...
only the Liberal Party had enough players for her to field a netball team, she could follow her dream. But maybe she can't.
She's not much of a netballer, but she used to be a commercial airline pilot.
Yeah.
Really?
And a punk.
Yeah,
Back in
and
the day.
air traffic controller.
Well, you think she'd know the difference between Sydney and Lismore there.
We're off to a break. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back. This is The Project.
Well, Bindi Irwin has provided an update on her condition from her hospital bed after undergoing emergency surgery in Las Vegas to remove a burst appendix. Thanking people for their well wishes, she revealed doctors also removed 14 new endometriosis lesions and fixed her pregnancy-related hernia.
I'm sorry if I'm a little out of it in this video, but I just wanted you to know that I'm on the road to recovery, one step at a time, and I'm so lucky to have so much love in my life.
Well, soon, Bindi.
I love our hospital video. You know, when you're off chops and you're just like, now's a really good time to call people.
Now, listen, even taking a dip in the backyard swimming pool requires a bit of caution in the Northern Territory. In just 48 hours, 2 young crocodiles have been pulled out of 2 separate pools in Palmerston, just south of Darwin. One of them, small enough to fit in the skimmer box, was initially mistaken for a lizard. It's not clear how they found their way into suburbia.
Well, that thing.
Let them cook. They're fun.
All right. It's a gesture that sparked joy for one family. It could also help end the violence in Gaza. There have been emotional scenes as the last known surviving American-Israeli hostage in Gaza was released and reunited with his family. Idan Alexander was held by Hamas for more than 19 months. He was serving with the Israeli military when he was captured in 2023. Hamas described his release as a goodwill gesture as part of efforts to secure a new ceasefire deal. To other news from around the world, and markets have rebounded after the US and China made a deal to slash tariffs for 90 days. The Dow, S&P 500 and the Nasdaq each posted their biggest single-day gains in more than a month. US tariffs will drop from 145% to 30%. China will lower tariffs on American goods from 125% to just 10%. Some economists say it could stave off a US recession. And film industry A-listers are on notice. The Cannes Film Festival has added a new dress code rule for the red carpet: no nudity. The recent trend of sheer and nude outfits, think Bianca Censori at the Grammys, clearly isn't the look the festival is going for. Voluminous outfits and large trains that hinder other guests are also not permitted.
Oh, no.
you might be.
French would be down with that.
Hey, it's all right.
But how are we going to see Kanye's wife's secret garden now?
Oh, my God.
We're just not going to get to see it.
As long as they don't do it at the Logies, we're fine, right? We're still good.
Maybe they'll save it for that.
Oh, yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Put Kate in charge of the guest list and you might get what you want. That would be frightening.
You're watching The Project. Back after this. This is The Project. Welcome back.
It's more of today's top stories. Joel Couchy's former psychiatrist has apologised to the victims while giving evidence at the inquest into the Bondi Westfield stabbings. She told the inquest she shares the pain of his deadly attack and that it devastated her personally. She testified that she'd helped wean off schizophrenia medication, but last saw him in 2020. She believes he was not, however, psychotic during the attack and told the inquest he may have acted out of a hatred for women.
The New South Wales State Government is moving to legalise electric scooters for use on shared paths, streets and roads. The government says it's just too late to say no, but how any regulations would be policed is yet to be worked out. And while they won't be permitted on footpaths, pedestrian advocates believe scooters still pose a significant risk.
Anything that's got an electric motor should be insured, it should have a number plate, you should be licensed. This is madness.
Guys, you won't believe this. An influencer has copped backlash.
What?
Yeah. Plenty after a gender reveal stunt didn't go as planned. So the video shows Lele Pons slipping twice after she and her husband pushed that lever that blasted out the pink liquid. The second time she nearly fell on her stomach as people rushed to help her. Now, she laughed it off, as you do, but followers were shocked by her close call, calling the stunt dangerous. I thought actually you can't fall much more gracefully.
She did it beautifully.
So well.
Yeah.
But can we look at the husband who just runs off? And
Well, he
like,
did run off.
Does that give you the ick?
It's like that movie where he sees the avalanche coming and he runs away and leaves the family there. But he did double back.
He did.
But it's a bit late to have the ick at that point.
Well...
What, so
Yeah, come on, Wally.
Well.
Get with it. Guys, let's go.
We're done. Can we stop doing them, please?
What gender reveal?
Yeah.
But what would we show
That's
on
true,
television?
yeah.
Well, you know, at the end of 9 months, you get a gender reveal anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always think. You'll find out one way or the other. Anyway, in the US, Trump has been talking about the price of pharmaceuticals. I almost couldn't say pharmaceuticals then. Anyway, it's great to see him approach the topic sensitively. Of course, it's Donald Trump. He wouldn't do it any other way. He drew on his own personal experience. Well, no, he didn't at all. He did just some guy he knows.
I mean, I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. A highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug.
The fat shot. The fat shot. It's crazy. Also, it's like, come on, Elon's not that big, brother. It's like,
Did we get a list of suspects? Did we narrow it down?
Well, I'm not sure, but look, the mate that Trump called in the time of need, Big Don, he's understanding and he gets it. He's as sensitive as you would expect.
President, could I ask you a question? What? I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working.
I mean, thank God the price of pharmaceuticals are coming down because he's going to need some cream for that burn.
Hey, coming up, cash bribes and conspiracy cover-ups. We take you inside the courtroom for the explosive first day of Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial. You're watching The Project. Back after this.
Look at The Project.
Let's get some more news now. And a mushroom expert has given evidence as Erin Patterson's murder trial resumed for a third week in regional Victoria. He testified he'd posted the precise locations of death cap mushrooms online 2 months before the lethal lunch. An emergency doctor also gave evidence today, telling the jury Erin's test results showed no signs of mushroom poisoning. The court also heard evidence she denied foraging for mushrooms. When asked about it by health authorities, Patterson denies deliberately poisoning her in-laws and has pleaded not guilty.
Well, the trial of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has begun in New York, and it's already off to an explosive start. The jury hearing stories of violence, coercion, extortion and disturbingly lurid details all on just the first day. And a warning, some of what you're about to hear is distressing.
This is Sean Combs. During this trial, you are going to hear about 20 years
She tried to
of the
run out the
defendant's
front door.
crimes, but he grabbed her in a chokehold, lifted her by the neck, and kicked her to the ground. This case is not about a celebrity's private sexual preferences. It's coercive and criminal.
The opening argument laid out the state's case against Sean Diddy Combs, that he used his considerable power to abuse women and men with sex, violence and drugs.
I talked to him yesterday. I mean, he's engaged. He's ready to go. He's ready to put on his defence.
Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that include racketeering and sex trafficking. His lawyer claiming he is a flawed and even violent person, but not guilty of these crimes.
It is not evidence of sex trafficking. It is evidence of domestic violence. This case is about love, jealousy, infidelity, and money. Sean Combs is a complicated man, but this is not a complicated case.
On day one, the jury heard explicit and lurid details of the rapper's so-called freak-offs, allegedly forcing women into sexual performances that involved drugs, voyeurism, baby oil and urination.
The prosecution painted Diddy as a violent, jealous man.
The start of the trial focused on the relationship between Combs and singer Cassie Ventura, 17 years his junior. The prosecution alleging Combs would beat and abuse her for the smallest slights.
So that's going to be the question these jurors have to grapple with. If these women were in fact being coerced, why didn't they say something sooner? Why didn't they report it?
The first witness was Israel Flores, a security guard at the hotel where this video took place. The video played on repeat for the jury. He claimed he saw Ventura with a purple eye, that Combs wouldn't let her leave, and that Combs offered Flores cash to keep it secret.
So what does that show? That shows that Diddy has a propensity for violence, that he's trying to potentially hide the act.
The second witness, Daniel Phillip, said he was paid thousands of dollars on multiple occasions to have sex with Ventura while Combs watched.
Cassie is expected to be one of the first witnesses on the stand as the trial continues.
She is expected to lay out for jurors her side of her relationship with Combs. We're expecting it to likely be pretty emotional as we hear from her.
Trial's just beginning. Today is day one.
Lauren Conlin is the host of PopCrimeTV and was inside the courtroom today. Lauren, just hearing the details summarised like that has been disturbing enough. What was it like hearing the allegations firsthand?
It was pretty hard to listen to. I mean, just being there and having to see Diddy's family and his children listen with both ears as he allegedly did certain things to these women. And at one point, he appeared to give his mother a thumbs up. He smiled at his kids. He was flipping through a Bible at another point. He appeared to be nervous at the very beginning, and he asked the judge for water. And I remember specifically that when the jury walked in, he did not take his eyes off of them. He was just locked in. But I thought it was very interesting when the witness testimony was given and when the opening statements were given and he was hearing all these things, again, that he allegedly did, violent things, very vile things, things that you wouldn't want your family, let alone the public, to hear about. He was very stoic. I did not see a whole lot of expression. He just kind of seemed to sit there and watch and lean back a bit in his chair.
Cassie Ventura is a former girlfriend of his. Why is her treatment so significant to the prosecution?
Well, who better to testify here about Sean Combs' alleged crimes and alleged criminal enterprise than his former girlfriend of almost 2 decades? And Cassie Ventura was actually the first one to come forward in 2023 with this explosive civil lawsuit that details a lot of the allegations that we're about to hear. And I don't just mean sex trafficking. In Cassie's original lawsuit, she talked about how Diddy was jealous, and when he was jealous, he allegedly blew up a man's car that she was dating. We actually know this man to be Kid Cudi. He has come out and said this. Wow. We don't know if Kid Cudi is going to be on the stand or not, but she should have evidence of sex trafficking and the RICO charge.
Very quickly, how many celebrities are worried about this trial?
So that is interesting to me because I think during opening statements, we were expecting to hear from the prosecution or the defense something like, you're going to see these sex tapes involving this celebrity and that celebrity, and J-Lo's going to come forward and talk about what happened in 1999. There was nothing like that at all. I don't think we're going to hear from any celebrities. If we are, I think it's going to be maybe towards the end, and it's going to be very low key. But what we were told is that we were going to hear from Cassie, from another victim named Jane, and a former employee named Mia, who was allegedly assaulted by Diddy, as well as we'd see evidence of text messages, emails, and we'd actually see freak-off videos. But the defense says that these videos don't come from the 2024 raid of Diddy's house. They actually come from Cassie's devices.
Okay, all right. Lauren Conlin, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all. All right, back home. Susan Lee will take over from Peter Dutton after being elected leader of the Liberal Party. She narrowly beat Angus Taylor to the job, 29 votes to 25. Queensland MP Ted O'Brien was named her deputy. She says they plan to take a, quote, fresh approach as the party rebuilds.
It is time to step up, regroup and rebuild for the Australian people.
And as the Liberals appointed their first female leader, Anthony Albanese and his new ministry were being sworn in. The Cabinet got straight to work with the minimum wage top of the agenda at their first meeting.
Yep, it's all happening up there. Now, before she could sit down with the Governor-General to be sworn in, Sports Minister, Labor's Annika Wells, she had a support team there, and look, they jumped the gun.
Oh.
The Honourable Annika Wells MP as Minister... I'll try that again.
Yeah, have another go, Al. But I think that's normal because when the Minister for Fisheries was sworn in, her kid threw a trout out the door. So I think it's normal. Yeah.
It's cute to see kids around,
Yes,
in
nice.
Canberra as well. Hey, each year, around 15,000 Aussies travel abroad to get better teeth, bigger breasts and tighter tummies. But there is one procedure that blokes are now flocking to and one location dominating the trade.
Each year, millions of people travel to Turkey to marvel at the Hagia Sophia or get lost in the Grand Bazaar. But the country's newest attraction, hairlines. Turkey has quickly become the world's hair transplant hub, with an estimated 5,000 clinics offering 5-star stays and promising luscious results.
Lots of influencers now getting flown over to Turkey. They might give the influencer the best team that they've got to have a fantastic transplant, but you might be left with a team that's very inexperienced when you go and have that transplant done yourself. And the one thing they do is really good advertising.
I'm a pretty boy, I'm stunning. Most hair I've had in almost 7 years.
We received 5-star accommodation, hotel transfers, a translator. So we're very, very lucky.
At 22, Tim noticed his hairline receding, trying everything from Rogaine to laser to preserve it.
And some of those did work, but after a while, they're not what you would say were permanent fixes. I remember I'd wake up and look in the mirror, especially once I started shaving my head. I didn't recognise myself, and that was a part of who I am.
For 15 years, he battled baldness, and in July 2023, he chose to get a hair transplant in Istanbul.
First and foremost, because of the affordability. We felt that going to Turkey was a bit more accessible for us.
In Turkey, a typical hair transplant costs between $2,800 and $7,000. Tim paid $5,000 for 5,000 grafts. In Australia, he was quoted $30,000.
We didn't want to pick the wrong company or that something would go wrong in a foreign country. But I guess what alleviated that nervousness was just the amount of research we did.
Each year, 1.8 million people travel to Turkey for medical procedures like transplants, cosmetic surgery, ophthalmology, oncology and dental. The Turkish medical market is estimated at $3.97 billion, and it's set to soar to 8.2 in the next 5 years.
Hotels, cars, limousines to and from the hotel, airport. To be honest, it made me feel like a king.
Tyrone was just 15 when his hair started thinning.
It was kind of like a bullet to the heart. How could I grow it back? Or if I was just going to have to go bald.
He rarely left the house without a hat.
It never came off my head. Half the time I would literally sleep with the hat.
Tyrone had 4,200 grafts and had his teeth done too, paying 11 grand for the teeth and 2,400 for the hair, which included an 8-night stay in Istanbul. But the night before, he got cold feet.
The day of the procedure, I was shitting bricks. I spoke to a few people that went to the same clinic. They said it was a lot of pain, so I was a bit scared and I almost pulled out that day.
Doctors in Istanbul have reported a 70% rise in demand for hair transplants from Aussie men. But local specialists say there's a reason overseas procedures are so cheap.
Usually because there's nobody clinical doing the procedure itself. They're managing to cut some corners as well with getting very cheap tools and essentially not using some of the single-use tools that we like to use per surgery. They might reuse them on patients.
Dr Oz has been servicing Aussie scalps for 5 years.
Get a fair share of our patients, unfortunately, coming back from Turkey, either immediately, they've got bad infections that we have to deal with here, or when the results are supposed to be at its prime in 12 months, they might only have 5% growth.
He's seen cases where hair was over-harvested, poor hair angulation and unnatural-looking regrowth, and when qualified surgeons don't do the procedure, it can have tragic outcomes.
There's been a couple of cases over the last 12 months where, men have unfortunately committed suicide because it looked very unnatural and people were making fun of them. So it has a massive impact.
So for those considering taking the plunge...
It's a life-altering procedure. If a hair transplant is done wrong, a lot of the times it's lifelong and you have to live with it. So take your time, don't rush it, don't fall for any fancy promotions that are online, and come and see somebody in Australia.
It can have a significant impact on how you feel about yourself and your confidence. There's no shame in it.
Yeah, do what you want to make yourself feel good. Just do the research.
Don't you
It's
love
like
the
us putting,
Australians saying, go see someone in Australian? Yeah, we would, but it's 10 times the price.
Well, apparently they're starting to lower prices because of this.
Oh,
to
are they?
compete. I mean, I don't know how close it's going to be and how easy it would be to get it. But yeah, that's what's beginning to happen. And this isn't an area of medicine that's, where there's no profit margin. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, right. And soon robots will be able to do it.
What?
Like
Get your
my
fake. I can't
grandmother
wait for that.
darning socks.
Exactly.
They can do our faces next. Darn our skin behind our ears.
I just think it's underestimated for
Totally.
men if they lose their hair. And you two you've got thick
I love
hair
the look
privilege.
of a bald head. I
Hey, do you know
like
what?
a bald
All
head.
I'll say is this, Istanbul, one of my favourite cities in the world.
There we go.
That's all I'm going to say.
You always talk about going. You
It's
go there every
great,
6
wonderful
months.
city,
Really.
brilliant
More
city.
project after the break. Stick around.
Welcome back. Wrexham AFC have risen from obscurity to striking distance of the greatest football league in the world. It is the ultimate footy fairy tale.
Over the last 4 years, it's been this roller coaster of magic.
In 2021, best buds and Hollywood celebs Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds bought the failing Wrexham Association Football Club after Rob became obsessed with the sport during lockdown.
The idea that you can get promoted into a league above you and demoted and kicked out of the league is incredible.
And it's pretty much all thanks to this guy.
Just a quick introduction, this is Humphrey. He's coming in as Chief Executive Director, is it?
Just Executive Director. I don't want to build myself up too much.
Humphrey Ker got Rob hooked on the game while working as a writer on one of his TV shows and has wound up an integral part of the club and their back-to-back-to-back promotions.
15 years we have waited for this.
This whole thing is never more than 2 or 3 steps away from catastrophe.
The stars of the documentary Welcome to Wrexham now find themselves one step away from the famed Premier League. But before their season gets underway, they're stopping by Australia.
And the man who helped orchestrate this chain of events is Humphrey Ker. He joins us now.
Hello. Greetings, Australia.
Humphrey, Wrexham is just now one step from the top league. Are people still partying?
Yes, yeah. I mean, quite literally, I think our players got back from Las Vegas yesterday morning, and I've really seen a drop-off in the number of Instagram posts of them topless, which suggests that they've got back to reality.
So we should put this in context. To be promoted from one league to the next 3 years in a row has never happened before. This is unbelievable to be able to achieve that. And now you're in the Championship, the league below the Premier League. And to be clear, if you could get promoted again, that would actually probably be harder than everything you've done so far. That's how big a challenge this is. Are they up to it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are swimming with very big fish now. I mean, we have enjoyed the kind of advantage of being like, I always hate it's hard to find a better phrase than big fish in a small pond, but that's always feels very disrespectful to everybody else in the same division as you. But we are now going into a pond that is just full of, it's like an Australian pond. It's full of things that can kill you. If that's not too, that's a very, very reductive, it's a very reductive,
pretty accurate
stereotype about Australia. But yes, it's but quite slightly accurate. So I shouldn't need to, I got very close to the camera there. It's got a gigantic head. Yes, so the Championship is a very dangerous place to be, and we will have to be at our absolute best, so not only survive, but to try and thrive in there. But I wouldn't put anything past Phil Parkinson, our manager, and this group of players, because they have delivered year on year on year.
Now, Humphrey, Sam Taunton here, that's my name. Can we talk Taunton Town FC for 1 second, please? They're from Somerset.
Of course we can, Sam. The Peacocks.
The Peacock, yes. I follow them on Instagram, a great club. I want to get involved with them. They're in the 7th tier of the English football system at the moment. How much money would I have to put on the line here to get them up into the Championship?
Maybe. I mean, look, in honesty, probably what would you need? About 20-odd million pounds, I would say. I'm not sure what that is in Australian dollars.
Oh, anyway, sorry, I actually was crunching the numbers and I was like, I've got to call my bank manager. Anyway, now, before the season does begin, big news today that Wrexham, they're going to be coming down under to take on the might of Sydney FC and Melbourne Victory. Do they know, I know there's, international speculation about the club and they're moving up, but do they know much about the teams down here?
Yeah, I mean, what's great these days is the proliferation of football across the world, thanks to TV and thanks to the internet and thanks to all these things. Everybody is relatively familiar with the A-League. It's also a great breeding ground for lots of good players. So, it's something that we keep a beady eye on, just in case we can find any good Aussie boys to come and make life easier for us.
Hey, Humphrey, because you basically were part of helping a team survive that, as you said, may not have been the case had you not intervened. How is it when you roll into town?
It's great. I mean, what's been so amazing is seeing the transformation since kind of November 2020, I think is the first time I got into Wrexham, mid-lockdown, very, very quiet. The high street, lots of shops had shut down. It was a place that sort of felt like it just hadn't caught a break in a long time. But now it's so nice to see that, we often use this metric that lots of kids now, they no longer wear Liverpool or Barcelona or Real Madrid or Manchester United jerseys. They're wearing Wrexham jerseys around town. Like, they're very proud to be from Wrexham, and that's something I think has changed enormously in the last 4 years.
Yeah, football means so much to towns like that. It is frankly wild that a team that's just made the Championship is doing a world tour, but that is what's happening. Wrexham Down Under in July. Tickets go on sale on Ticketek tomorrow. You can also catch the action live and exclusive on Paramount Plus as part of their Winter Festival of Football. In the meantime, would you please thank Humphrey Ker?
Thanks, everyone.
Let's go back to you soon.
This is Project. Welcome back.
Now, guys, Georgie decided to go all in with one of the biggest action superstars in the world.
Oh, my God.
People ask me, are you afraid? It's like...
Because you should be.
Yeah, but there's things like even in life where I feel it, but I'm not afraid to feel it. I think that's the difference. I'm not afraid to be afraid. I'm not afraid to not know something and work on trying to figure out how to know it. I can't help but be passionate about what I do, and I'm all in. I'm all in as a friend, as a coworker, as kind of, attacking life, really.
She said he was awesome.
Yeah, he always is.
How long till we hear that Georgie Tunney is marrying Tom Cruise? He's jumping on a couch.
Well, all I'll say is stay tuned tomorrow night. The full interview will be there before Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning hits cinemas.
Now, our next guest's day job is guaranteed to get your heart racing.
Ryan Williams is one of the world's premier adrenaline junkies. Born and raised on the Sunshine Coast, Ryan's BMX and scooter skills saw him picked up by the high-flying stunt riders at Nitro Circus.
Ryan Williams! Oh! Front flip kiss of death!
A true innovator, Ryan has pioneered more than 20 world-first moves with terrifying names like triple tail whip, double backflip, and the front flip windshield wiper.
Oh my goodness! So crazy.
Now Ryan is getting ready to shred on home turf as the Nitro Circus crew makes its fiery Aussie return.
That's Ryan Williams. Oh, what a guy.
Please welcome Ryan Williams!
Let's go! Appreciate it.
All right, Ryan. How many bones have you broken?
0.
What?
Touch wood.
How is it possible?
Not true.
I've fractured bones, so fracture is just like, where it's like a crack in the bone, but
That's a
no
break.
surgeries. No surgeries.
So
That's what I count.
So you have a very different standard for breaking bones than the average population.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like even no surgeries is really good. So
That's a good.
I think it's a great way to live your life. But
So
it's
are you one of these people who could look at Tom Cruise jumping out of a plane and go,
I'm jealous.
You're jealous?
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of jealous. In a way, like I'm still kind of scared of heights sometimes, but...
What?
Yeah. But
you're up there twisting and flipping?
Yeah, but that's like 30 to 40 feet, not like 100. I feel like once I'm at 100 feet, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to be strapped in.
It's still the same amount of damage when you're up there if you fall.
Yes.
You reckon? I don't know. Depends on the angle of the ground. If the ground's shaped like this, then I can kind of land on
that's
it.
a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's thought about it.
I mean, your tricks are even hard to say. Let me tell you, they're hard to say in the edit booth. Hey, the whole crew is coming down under for this. How big are we talking? Is this kind of event going to be?
It's literally going to be the biggest show we've ever done. It's like the most ramps. I think we even have like a ring of fire, and we haven't done that before. So we're going to jump through fire, which I'm super stoked about because
You've never done it before?
No, I want to do a world's first through a ring of fire, just to make it a little bit harder.
Oh, yeah,
great. What are you going to call that? Because the names you come up with yours are...
Oh, yeah, I mean, you can kind of name... That's the best thing about doing a world's first. You can kind of name it whatever you want. But if it's got a simple name, if it's not too hard to say, I try to keep it like, okay, we'll just call it that. But if it's something fancy...
Like stay away from the spicy beef masala or something.
Yeah, there's one called... my hardest trick is called the Free Willy.
Oh, what's that?
And that's where I do a backflip while my bike does a front flip, and then I catch it. So it does a front flip like this, and I do a back like this, and then I catch it and get back on.
So at what point in your brain do you think of that and go, that's a good idea?
Well, it's like what I think about is like, okay, no one's ever done this on BMX. Can I do this? And then if in my mind I can do it, then I go out and I try it.
Are you like doing drawings about how the trick, or you're just having a look going, all right, I'll just do a little flip and that'll work out?
It's funny, so people think about like they count sheep jumping a fence. How people used to to go to sleep? Well, I'm like, oh yeah, add a tail whip here or add a trick to this and maybe I can do it.
Add fire and it's the perfect trick.
That's it. Yeah.
Because this must have started when you were really young.
Yeah.
And you were raised by your mum.
Yep.
And most mothers are quite into safetyism with their kids. Yeah. But your mum obviously lent into your daredevil ways.
I feel like at first, obviously, when I was doing Nitro Circus, it's like a 40-foot jump. We call it like a mega ramp. And then she was like, oh, I'm a bit worried. But once, I did it 50 times and I didn't break a bone, she was like, oh, okay, you've got a house out of this. You're making a living out of this. She's like, okay, I can let it slide. And she's kind of a bit crazy herself, if I'm being honest.
Right.
She's hit my ramp. She's jumped my ramp at my house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if you hang around me long enough, you end up kind of joining in.
Okay, how many broken bones has she had?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I've never asked my mum. That's a good question.
Cool. What about if she did the Ring of Fire? That'd be a world first, wouldn't it?
That is a great idea. This at Nitro Circus, my mum is going to do the Ring of Fire. She's watching right now like, what is she saying?
Could you do it on a tandem bicycle? You on the front, mum on the back?
Oh my gosh!
Oh, that's cute.
Write that into the show.
Oh, that's cute.
So you've got a little boy now. You're a dad.
I know.
Will you want him doing this stuff when he grows up?
Maybe golf.
Yeah.
Something that isn't as dangerous and you get paid more. I'd be into that. But honestly, whatever he wants to do. I'm not. I've got a great facility if he wants to do any action sport. So
how long can you do this stuff? Like, how old can you be and still do it?
I don't know. I reckon. I mean, I'm 30 years old now. I'm feeling pretty good, so I feel like I could definitely do it for another 10 years. But to stay on top, like the young guns are just crazy. But
That's the thing. Like you have to be crazy to do it, right? So
Kinda.
At some point, there's an age where you start to see risk.
Or calculated. So it's just that you got to be calculated. Obviously, we take risks, but you take risks at the right time, and that's either it pays off.